You're listening to the Septic Company Marketing Podcast, a podcast dedicated to helping your service-based business grow and thrive using the latest technology in internet marketing. And now, here's the host of our show and the CEO of Grow Inc., Matt Law.
All right, everyone, welcome back. Super excited about this training. We're going to talk about a custom CRM that fits your business. So we use a database builder from Knack. It's Knack, and you can learn more at knack.com. And what this is, it's a no-code database builder, which allows you to create custom tables, connections, pages, logins, various things like that. And then we create those for customers, and then we tie them in through API to various other apps, such as TextMagick for texting, MailChimp for sending emails, and everything that I've talked about in our training so far is centered around this custom CRM. Now, there's lots of CRMs out there. I don't know if your company uses one or not. I have actually... in my past, I've worked with a ton of different CRMs. I've used Infusionsoft, which is an older version, which is now called Keep. I've used HubSpot. And there's a lot of these different apps. And folks, they can be super expensive, $300, $500 a month. And what I find is that most of them are too clunky, they're too expensive, and they don't really meet the client's flow. And so a couple of years ago, it's been longer than that now, probably 5 years ago, I started tinkering with creating custom CRMs for clients because it simplified their business and it could actually do everything that they wanted and be centered around their workflow. And so when I mention that people request a quote online, for a service business, that lead goes right into the CRM, and the people automatically get a welcome email, and then they're in the CRM as a new lead that needs to be scheduled. When someone calls your business, if you had this custom CRM, you would click add a new lead. You'd go through the questions. How'd you hear about us? Okay, can I send you over our free welcome package? Yes. And then they hit enter. It enters them into the CRM as a new lead, and then it automatically sends them that email. And then the next step would be to schedule them. When web people fill out a new lead or web leads come in to a business, you see them under new leads, and then you call them and say, hey, I'd like to schedule you. And then you look at the calendar, you schedule them, you hit enter, and then it sends them a text. And moves them to the level as scheduled. So whatever your workflow is for your business, what I'm telling you is that you should and could have a custom CRM that walks through all the steps of your business. And sometimes you have multiple steps. So like you have a big ticket item where you got people scheduling, and sometimes it's just like a service ticket that you are going to create that has scheduling in it. So what I would suggest is that you need to think about customizing things and get rid of the bloated content. Now, for each industry, there is often a CRM that's built in that does all of these things. It's your customer stuff, like it manages your customers and things like that, manages your scheduling and invoicing. And sometimes there are some really good ones, but if they don't have open API, which stands for Application Programming Interface, if it doesn't connect with other apps, then that is a major problem. If it's a software that you run on just your computer and it's not cloud-based, something that's on the internet, that is also a problem. And so what I've seen is that sometimes a business needs their bigger CRM for scheduling, but what I usually create, or what we normally create for our clients, is a custom CRM to measure the leads and the initial scheduling. And then if it goes to a bigger, deeper project, we'll push that lead over to the CRM that they're using for budgeting. Or sometimes that our CRM will be used for the entire flow of this process. And what you don't understand why this is so important, maybe you do, is nothing falls through the cracks when you have a CRM and it's planned out through all the phases of your business. For example, If you've got leads in the new lead, they need to be scheduled. If you have people scheduled, they need estimates. If they have estimates, they need to close. And so it allows you to kind of go through there and at a glance and say, hey, I need to follow up with these people. But the other really powerful portion of this is you can create automations. So say, for example, once you move them from scheduled to estimate sent, it could automatically trigger that email and say, here is your estimate. Here's a link to your estimate. Or, hey, thanks for scheduling up for your next meeting. Like there's so many ways to connect this and customize it to your business flow. And then when we talked about, as you close out a project, sending a thank you gift to somebody and asking for a review, that is all connected to the CRM. And so your CRM, because every business is somewhat unique, and even if your business isn't unique, the way you should be marketing with a 4-step process is a unique marketing process. It's probably not built into your current CRM system. And so by creating a custom CRM, it allows you to fine-tune your communication. So say, for example, and we're working on a project right now where when people accept the estimate, they really want to introduce the project manager. This is a bigger type of project that lasts for a renovation company. But as the person accepts it, they want to introduce the project manager. And so it's going from the estimator, all right, to the project manager. And so the email comes from the project manager. Hey, I just want to introduce myself. And it's got a picture of him and it says, hey, here's what we're going to do. If you have a question, here's how you can get in touch with us. And so as people go through the phase of the CRM and the sales process, it actually allows them to learn, even though they're not seeing this, you see it. Hey, I got to move this guy here, move this guy here. And what you don't see and what maybe you don't understand is it will speed up your communication. It'll make it consistent. And it will make sure nothing slips through the crack because you can have checklists as people go through each phase of that project. And one thing I love about Knack is it's easy to make changes. It's fast to make changes. The API is open and you can actually make it customized so you can send people through that formula very easy. So Knack is a pretty awesome tool. Now, if you go out there and you may say, hey, like, man, this is deep stuff, Matt. I don't have time to do this. You probably don't. You need to get someone to make it for you. For us, it's part of our packages. So we've built a lot of these. And so we will still customize them for our clients. So it's all integrated. One cool thing is imagine like you get done with a project, you can send invoices and keep up with your invoices. Here's the number one reason why we have to have something like this. With us, we want to measure your marketing. And I have to know, if you're a client, I have to know, did that marketing generate revenues? Because if it didn't, if our marketing isn't working, we got to cut it and we need to reapply it to what is working. So at the end of the day, at the end of the year, I need to be able to run a report and say, here's all of the deals that we close through Google Ads. And then I can figure out the return on investment. Maybe the return on investment is better for Google Organic, and we can run a report on that. We can run a report on Facebook or Nextdoor or wherever we're advertising, Bing, Yahoo. We can also see how many referrals we gave away, how many people for our active referral campaign. All of that is visible in the CRM. So even if you only use it for the lead and the scheduling phase and you use your business CRM for everything else, but whenever a job is closed, you can close it out by adding the revenues, and then we can determine the return on investment for all of your marketing. So having something like this is super key for measuring your return on investment. So a couple of things that I will tell you is that there's a lot of problems with most CRMs. And if you're in this situation, you're probably, if you have an off-the-shelf CRM, usually there's a bunch of portions of it you don't know how to use or you don't use. The other thing, it's really hard because sometimes you'll like where it's at, but then they'll make changes and then it doesn't work the same, or you have to train a staff on there. By having a custom CRM, you can customize it to exactly the way you want. And basically you can add tasks, you can add checklists, you can add reminders, you can send emails, you can send texts, you can run reports, you can see a lot of data. And so it's custom. And because it's low code or no code, really, I call it more low code because there is some things you have to do. It allows you to make inexpensive changes that are extensive very, very quickly. So if you were to have a custom CRM built for your company, you're probably looking at, $100,000, depending on how complicated it is. You can have the same functionality in a application like this for a cost of $100 a month. That's a huge savings. Now it has to be built, but that's why we include it as part of our packages. So it allows you to see your database, all the people in there, including past customers. And then when you follow up with customers, you can export from NAC or send mail directly from NAC to follow up. So it's very, very powerful. It also allows you to trigger your workflow automation. So if I want to say, hey, send this thank you or start this process, it allows us to do that. It has e-commerce integration, so you can do invoicing with that. And you can customize the user interface, the coloring, reporting, all of that. So there's a lot of benefits. And this is why we suggest and why we set up most new clients on NAC, our database builder. So I love it because sometimes as you start using a new CRM, you're like, hey, it would be great if it could do this. And boom, we integrate that and it improves it for that person. I also love it because it can be scalable. So when we start growing a company, a lot of times it's the owner that is doing the quoting. He's also doing the estimating or the sales side of it and all of that. And then he's managing the projects. But as you grow, you're not going to be able to do all of that. So when you go from 200 to 300, 400% growth, you're going to have some other staff come along, and you may have a sales guy, and you may have someone doing your estimates. You may have office staff. And so this is where the CRM comes in, is because it allows the team to see projects together, to log in. Each of them can have their own view. So a sales guy could see only the jobs that are new leads that he's trying to schedule, and he's trying to get them over to the estimate being complete. And then it goes to the project side. So it allows for a seamless integration of other systems. It's got great data security and privacy, separate logins. And for that reason, it's one of the reasons why we build on this platform. So I will kind of share a couple more things about this. And it's hard to just use words, obviously. But if you are a prospect in our system, basically you are seeing one of those login pages where you can move through the various phases of our sales pipeline. And as you take certain steps, whether you fill out the application to work with Grow Inc. or you're on the last phase where we are giving you a conceptual growth summary of where we think your business will be. Those are different phases. And as you are moved through those phases, it only takes us a second to do that, but it shares with you key information about the next step. And so when you build out a business and you plan out your processes or your workflow, that gets tied into the CRM and then tied into the automation. So for us, we have new leads, and we don't even follow up with new leads. There's some USB emails, but we're not calling them. There's nobody calling them. But when they move to application submitted, which is our second phase, these are people that want to learn more about working with us. And then it's either not a good fit or they are a good fit. And then we move them on to the next step, which is, hey, schedule a call. And if they're a good fit, it sends them automatically a link to schedule a call. And then we have our conversation. And then our next phase is if that call goes well and we feel like there's a good fit, then we dig deep into their business, still free. We send them another email and saying, hey, we'd like to do 2 hours. We're going to do a deep dive into your business. We're going to learn all about it. And what you can't see that I'm telling you is that there's a pipeline where you just click a button, move, and it keeps the user in tune. They're getting a text, they're getting an email, they're getting this, hey, thank you so much. but it's all part of a flow that was planned out for how we onboard clients and how we educate them. For you to communicate well, and we're going to talk about this more in our last episode, marketing automation. For you to communicate well, you have to know the workflow for your business. You have to know the client's processes and phases and all of that you have so that you can communicate to them effectively. But once you have all that done, man, it's built into a CRM that is super easy to use and very, very fast to use. For our last phase, once they agree to that conceptual agreement and we've consulted with them and we've built this killer marketing plan, then they get moved over to the client view and they can actually log in and access, their billing. So if you wanted people to be able to log into your website and see their bill, you could do things like that as well. It's pretty powerful. Obviously, it takes a lot to learn how to do database building. It takes a lot to learn how to do all of the marketing that I've shared with you in this. My goal is in helping you is just letting you see the best way, the absolute best way of doing things, and so that you can understand how companies grow. Now, over the last, 11 episodes of training, you're like, Matt, how am I going to do all of this stuff? How do I get all this stuff done? And the truth is, you can do it yourself. You can hire an agency, but that's where growing comes in. And the thing is we've got a formula that we know really, really works. And because we have websites that already convert, we already know what ads convert. We already know how a CRM workflow should work. We know the automation. It allows us to do it a lot faster than you'll be able to do it. Of course, is there a cost to that? Sure, there is. There's an expense to that. But here's our unique selling point: is that most of our costs for the marketing we bill to you at whatever we pay, so we don't mark any of that up. And the way our fees are structured is that we really don't get paid a whole lot unless your company grows substantially. That's one of our unique selling points, by the way. And so if you're saying, hey, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, like I need a CRM, I need to do SEO, I need to do pay-per-click, I need to get my print stuff done, I need to automate this, I need someone that will work with me on that, we may have a good solution for you at Grow Inc. And so I just want to encourage you, if you're just listening and you've gone through all this training, you're like, man, I feel overwhelmed, you could check out NAC. Absolutely. I'm telling you, the company. And there's freelancers that could also help you with that. But if you're looking to just grow your company, 200-300%, and you want to let us give us a chance to maybe just have a conversation and talk about your business. And so a little bit of a plug for our company there. And so thanks for allowing me just to share that with you. But I will tell you, as part of our process in our CRM, and this may be helpful for you, after people do the application, we talk to them for an hour just to learn their business and see if we'd be a good fit. And then we do a really deep dive. And all during these calls, I'm just giving them tips and suggestions and solutions. That's our investigation meeting. That's down in the road. And then we send over a growth summary, which this is all free. Like, we send a growth summary of all the things that they should do and how much it would cost for us to do them to get started. A lot of our clients start off on a Kickstarter package, which is a smaller package, website, pay-per-click, maybe some USP stuff. But after that, they want to move on to an immersive package, which is more money up front, but it includes the CRM, includes a lot, SEO, pay-per-click. And again, sometimes we will not even build them up front. We'll wait a few months and get all that stuff done, give them a little time to grow. There's a lot of options here. And so we're really confident. We only take on clients that we believe that can grow, that have the same values. And that's why our company is called Grow Inc., by the way, GRO.Inc., because we want to partner with businesses that want to grow. So I hope that was helpful, this training. I know we talked a little bit about CRMs, and it's hard to explain that over just audio, but the thing to understand is there can be a online tool that you log into from your website that walks the whole process of running your business right inside one place. And it doesn't have to be complicated. It's easy to use. and it will save you a ton of time. Anything you do repetitively, it can be done for you very, very fast. And so I want to encourage you, check out nat.com. Maybe if you haven't already, schedule a time to speak with us, fill out our online application, and let's see if you'd be a good fit for working with Grow Inc. Matt Law here, CEO of Grow Inc. Just want to thank you for your time. In our next episode, we are going to learn about marketing automation. And I'm going to talk to you about how you can take your CRM and you can automate everything. Thanks for listening, guys.
Thanks for listening to the podcast today. We hope you found today's episode helpful and informative. For more information about Grow Inc. and to request our free marketing blueprint ebook and other resources, please visit www.grow.inc. That's GRO.inc. We'll catch you in the next episode.